Monday edition of PFT Live. The 49ers and Eagles reportedly close to a trade that will send Bryce Huff from Philly to San Francisco. Huff signed 3 years, $51.1 million last offseason. He had 13 tackles, 2.5 sacks in 12 games with the Eagles last year. What, a healthy scratch by the time we get to the end of the year?
It was something like that. It's one of the weird career arcs we've ever seen here. I mean, went to the Jets, was kind of a sack machine there, right? I mean, a pleasant surprise for Robert Saleh and all of that. Gets traded because of the contract situation to the Philadelphia Eagles, gets there, and they're like, we got good guys, and I don't know if you fit here with us, and blah, blah, blah. And nothing really happens. $17 million a year, barely. It didn't seem like he played all that much, right? So now he gets back with Saleh in San Francisco, and that makes sense. And the 49ers continue to build up this defensive line to where you look at it and kind of go, wow, damn. I mean, 4 months ago, we were sitting here and going, they can't field a football team. Now I'm sitting here going, damn, maybe the odds makers in Las Vegas knew they were going to make all these great moves and have a great draft. And now I'm understanding why they're still one of the betting leaders to win the NFC West.
Well, they get a full offseason this year.
Yeah,
Paul Shanahan mentioned that last week. There's a greater energy in the building. They're just not worn down mentally and physically like they'd been for 3 straight years.
Right.
And the thing that's weird about Huff, because, like, why wouldn't the Eagles keep Josh Sweat if they were ready to give up on Bryce Huff? Because one of the reasons that you let Sweat walk, hey, we got Huff.
Right.
And you clear out Sweat and Huff steps in and we finally get a return on our investment. So something went haywire last year. Something, Vic Fangio doesn't believe in the guy. I don't know. But at the end of the day, they're willing to cut their losses and they get the benefit of the doubt. When you've got the stacked roster and you've just won the Super Bowl, it creates less of an embarrassment when you throw in the towel after 1 year on a 3-year, $51 million deal.
That's right. And I don't know if he's their cup of tea, right? I think they're a little bit into maybe some bigger guys on the edge a little bit. But I think what they looked at, Nolan Smith took the right step in the right direction last year. The Jalix Hunt, right? I think that's the other guy that made Bryce Huff expendable. And you saw him in the Super Bowl and the playoffs. I think there's great hope that they think he could be the next real damn good pass rusher coming off the edge. Plus, they got other depth there, too. And even the kid they drafted at the end of the first round, Jahad Campbell, as we talked about, middle linebacker. But damn, let me just say, some of the things he did off the edge for Alabama, his first step rivaled Abdul Carter coming off the edge. Let me just say that again. His first step rivaled Abdul Carter coming off the edge. I think with all of those, they looked at it and the money, they said, okay, we can get rid of Bryce Huff. We got enough of, we got an embarrassment of riches here in Philadelphia.
Hey, they were trying to go as high as, what was it, 22?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
They had a deal in place with the Chargers that something fell through.
Right.
They kept trying to move up. They couldn't get it done. Eventually, they move up one spot. They give up a 5th-round pick to get the guy that they'd been trying to get for 10 picks. So, as he said after he was drafted, the richer get rich in Philadelphia. And in this situation, they're clearing out a guy that they just decided didn't fit. And this is the example that now it's easy to do it when you've got the most recently minted Super Bowl trophy. When you know you've made a mistake, admit it and rectify it and move on.
Right.
When you double down, it rarely ever gets better. And it's better to just say, we made a mistake, it didn't work, shit happens, and off we go.
That's right. Don't double down and then let that mistake become 2 other mistakes that affect your football team. Get rid of it. Get some of the money off the books. Get a pick for the future. See where it goes from there. They tried it out. It didn't work. He wasn't a system fit for the Fangio defense and everything he does there. We know he's a system fit for the Seattle scheme. Robert Saleh, get wide, just rush the passer. Not going to have to worry about playing run defense and do all of that. And even within that, right, he'll be in and out, and according to matchups and down and distances, he'll be in the game. He's not necessarily always an every down defensive lineman, but man, the 49ers D-line, versatility, talent, size, they got it all going right now. Very impressed with what Lynch and Shanahan are doing out there.
I mean, the key's going to be keeping guys healthy.
That's
we
right.
know that.
Yep.
But they got a decent draw, a better draw than it could have been to start their season. They're at Seattle. Who knows what the Seahawks are going to be this year? They're at the Saints week 2. Cardinals, Jaguars, and then they go to the Rams week 5. They've got 4 games out of the gates where they could be 3-1. They could build some momentum. You steal one out the Rams. All of a sudden, that's going to be a Thursday night game, October 2nd. That's an early season opportunity for the 49ers to kind of let the world know
you're right.
They're not done.
Right.
And, they play all 4 teams of the NFC South, all 4 teams of the AFC South. Now, that's true across the board in the division. But because the 49ers finished low in the division, there's those 3 games that are tied to how you finished that the 49ers are going to be playing lesser teams, whereas the Rams are going to have to play like the Lions and the Eagles.
Right.
And the 49ers avoid those teams. They play teams lower in those 2 divisions than 2 of the best teams in football.
Yeah, no, things are there for them to kind of get their feet underneath them the start of the year, win a few games, get that confidence we always talk about, right? Get Brock Purdy back on track after a little bit of a down year there to where, hopefully they can lay the groundwork there to then explode into October and November. But I'm liking it. I am liking it. There's potential there with this football team, and we know how they are. They're chippy and under the radar, and that's where I think they like that. That's going to fuel them.
Here's where the edge comes for the 49ers.
Yeah.
Beyond the fact that they play all the teams of the AFC South and the NFC South, that's 8 of your games. Instead of the Eagles, they play the Giants. Rams play the Eagles, 49ers play the Giants. Rams play the Lions, 49ers play the Bears. Rams play the Ravens, 49ers play the Browns. Those 3 games ultimately could mean everything. And we were saying, what the hell? What are they thinking? The odds makers got the 49ers as the favorites. What's going on? And I've been saying the Rams have a chance to be the number 1 seed. You know who also has a chance to be the number 1 seed? The 49ers have a chance to be the number 1 seed. Because look at that. That's 11 games right there. 4 against the AFC South, 4 against the NFC South, Browns, Giants, Bears. Those are winnable games for these 49ers. For the 49ers that we've come to know. Christian McCaffrey, if he's healthy, defense, if they're healthy, Brock Purdy, if he's just the guy he's been the last 3 years, they need someone to step up at receiver.
Yeah.
But, let's not sleep on the 49ers.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And again, we've hit this. We hit this a little bit, I know, the last few weeks, but you just name, hey, it's Purdy, it's McCaffrey, it's Trent Williams at left tackle. The receivers, especially when Brandon Ayuk, it's not all that bad. There's George Kittle. It's still Bosa, right? It's still Fred Warner. So there's some players on this football team and a winning culture and a belief, and there's going to be a hunger to climb back up the mountain here this year. And as we talked about, like in the past, it's harder to come back from the Super Bowl loss than the Super Bowl win. It is. It's harder. It's devastating, right? I mean, I knew the 49ers were in trouble last year when I got in and we heard them. They were preparing for the Chiefs game, and that was the first time they had really watched the Super Bowl back from last year. So that just tells you it was a tough year, plus off-field contract stuff, climb the mountain, been beat up, play a physical brand of football, and then, of course, lose a heartbreaking Super Bowl. It was hard to rebound, and they didn't do a great job of it last year.
Every year you go back to the valley of 0 and 0, as Dennis Green used to call it, and this year the 49ers benefit from having the target on them that they have owned since 2019 becomes smaller. And between the schedule, the lower expectations, this sense that they're not going to be very good, that could all conspire to their advantage. And Robert Saleh's back to run the defense. They had been, kind of searching and groping and unable to make it work defensively. Now, DeMeco Ryans went on to be the coach of the Texans, so he did all right. But Saleh's back, and I think there's value in that as well. Let's take a break. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.